So this one just kind of popped into my head this morning, and I was a little bit dramatic with the description, but I thought it was kind of cool. So how being I have to move the right way. How being egotistical can make you humble. Probably another word I could have used, but they're often mistakenly interchangeable. Is being confident makes you humble. So we're going to talk about that in this episode of Living Spiritually in a Practical World. I was scrolling through a video series that I did well over 100 episodes called Got a Minute Video. So some of you folks that have been with me for a while will have remember those, will have seen them. I would take them on the road with me, so I'd take you with me. And I was actually watching one, I posted it the other day, from Fort Lauderdale, and it was the beach, like right in downtown Fort Lauderdale. My hotel was a little beachfront hotel, so like kind of the ones, I don't know if you call it typical. So a tiny little hotel, who knows how old it was, just all sorts of really cool character. It was about a block away from the beach. Unbeknownst to me, I didn't even think about it, the workshop was taking place on their long weekend. So it was just really cool. They had closed the street down for the long weekend, and they had car shows and they had concerts, and it was just a really amazing experience. And I'm looking at that, and this was from, wow, maybe 5 years ago or so. And along with you guys, this, geez, coming up to a year now, has been, let's say, an interesting year. And so I'm looking at this video and I'm going, and the video, I actually shot it the next morning. I arrived in the evening, so it was the next morning sitting on the beach. And I'm looking at that and I'm going, well, I did that. I did that. I was there, and of course all the other places. I remember the one I did from Hawaii, and it just goes on and on and on. San Francisco and all those cool places. Paris, Edinburgh, it just goes on and on. And it was almost like a reminder of that, like I did that. I really did that. And I think this past year, and it's not just this past year, but it's really sort of, for me, this past year has been kind of a magnifying glass in some respects, and really just sort of amplifying or magnifying everything in our experience. And it's really easy to forget. I'm going to say who we are, and that's kind of a big term. It's easy to forget how good we are. And I think this is where the whole egotistical thing comes in. And again, everything in balance, right? But when I looked at that, it was like, yeah, I did that. And there's, and the qualities, if you will, the skills that I developed using the manifesting principles. And I think that's the thing to remember too, is especially in these strange times, when you think about it, the law of gravity is a law of gravity. It never goes away. It's always here. We may forget about it, right? I don't know about you guys, but I don't think about gravity all the time, but gravity thinks about me all the time, and it's always here, right? And so these principles, the skills that you've learned, the accomplishments that you've accomplished are real. They were real, and they are real. And you are I'm going to say the same person. And yes, we're always growing and evolving and all that kind of stuff. But the qualities and the skills that you've developed are still with you. So the qualities and the skills that I've developed are still with me, even though when I look around, the circumstances may be unique, different, weird, whatever word you want to put after that. But the skills, your accomplishments really did happen, and you still have all the chops to do it again. And I think this is where when I say, and I use the word, and it's not exactly a wrong word, egotistical is really valuable, because I think sometimes what we do is, source is kind of kicking in a bit, we mistake egotistical for, I'm going to say, a balanced confidence. So it's almost like, and this is just what's arriving now, it's almost like on this spectrum, you've got confidence at one end, and all the way to the other end, you've got, I'll use these words just because they're handy labels, egotistical. And it's about this balance. And so for me, just having that confidence, and you know what, I'm good, right? Whatever the skills are, whatever it is that you've developed, the sort of the natural talents you have and things like that, your accomplishments, you're good. Like you're pretty damn good, right? And to be confident in that and stand in that. And I think sometimes, again, sort of how being egotistical can make you humble. I think we've taken humble and put it kind of way out of proportion too. And it's almost like, so humble's on one end, and they're just kind of showing up spontaneously. So humble's on one end of the scale, and degrading ourselves are on the other, or beraging my I need more coffee. Oh, dear. Being too negative on ourselves, being too hard on ourselves is on the other. And I think sometimes we get that out of whack. So we think, well, I'm being humble because I'm always sort of putting me almost down, berating yourself. There, I knew the word would come to me. And so it's really interesting how we'll give ourselves a compliment. So we'll go, wow, that was really good. Or again, I'm good at this and I've got this. And then it's like, well, and we do it without even thinking about it. So then we want to be humble. So actually what we're doing is we're almost devaluing ourselves. And again, think of the spectrum, right? I mean, we can go too far either way, sort of thing. But standing in a confidence. And I think, again, we've taken confidence and we've mistaken it for being egotistical. Kind of one of the quick things that pops into my mind. And actually maybe, oh, where's my button? Well, that was, I've set up a new switcher. It's acting up a little bit. So maybe your homework assignment is to catch yourself when you're doing one of two things. When you kind of fit on that sort of that humble on this side and devaluing yourself on the other, is especially with that good old internal dialogue. I talked about that the other day. Is be aware of what is your internal dialogue, and are you really being humble, or are you in a way kind of devaluing yourself, and then kind of overlay that confident, and if you want to use the word egotistical, and again I think ego is one of those labels that I don't use a whole lot because so many people have so many different perceptions and understanding of what that means to them, but the same thing. So maybe I'm not being egotistical. Maybe I'm just being confident. I think one of the ways is I find if a person is confident, they really don't have a need for other people to see them that way. Oh, this is good. So when you're confident, there's that absence of need to convince other people that you are. I think when we get into that, needing, see, there's that need again, needing to have other people, and we often don't articulate it this way, but needing to have other people validate our confidence. Now we're more on the egotistical side of it, being I need you, I need people, places, things, or events to tell me, if you will, how good I am, if you want to do it that way. When you're on the confidence end, you know you're good, but you don't have that need for people, places, things, and events to validate that. And often when we're way over this other end of the spectrum, we're needing people not to validate it. We're needing people, places, things, and event to convince us that it's true. Very big difference. When we're confident, we know it's true. So we really have no need to have that validated. When we're on that other end of the spectrum, we really don't believe it, which is why we need people, places, things, or events to continually validate or convince us that we are. All right, so that's your homework assignment. Just be aware of that. Manage the thoughts in your head. So powerful. We'll see you on the next episode of Living Spiritually in a Practical World. See you guys.